Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Eagle. Hello, Jaguar. Hello, perfect human being, perfect soul. So happy that you are here. My name is Vanessa Black. I'm one of the owners and founders of Billionaire Rhett. We are on a mission, and we need you a part of that mission to help impact the lives of billions all over the world, even if it's your circle, your world, okay, no matter how big or small, to achieve personal freedom in their life and financial freedom. Both of those. Personal freedom. This is a personal freedom book. It's the most important thing. I believe that success is having personal freedom in your life and doing the inner work every single day, the practicing that is necessary to just get better and better, without judgment. Some days are going to be better than others, and that's perfectly fine. But just having this awareness that our mind tells stories, just like our heart beats. Okay, and that's the function. Our mind tells stories. And when we become aware of that, like the eagle that can just become more aware and consciously aware of that, that's where freedom lies. That's where our personal freedom lies. And so it's been an absolute phenomenal book. We're on chapter 6 right now, the Plaza of Air, and I'm going to dive right into it. We tapped into the Plaza of the mind, the Plaza of water in the last chapter, which was beautiful as well. Have you been able to get out into the ocean, the river, to experience the healing powers, whether it's a bath that you might take, and just really experience the healing powers of water, of water. If you haven't yet, no worries. Today's a beautiful day to do it. Tomorrow's also a beautiful day to do it as well. So whenever you do feel like it, the water has healing powers. I know there's just a beautiful, beautiful vibe if I'm next to an ocean, or even I know the water is around, or drinking water. Okay. There's water everywhere. Our bodies are mostly made of water, and that's amazing. So we're going to be diving into air now, the Plaza of Air. Whenever I'm trying to finish a big project, a class or presentation, or even a book like this one, at a certain point, I inevitably find myself stuck. And I apologize if I forgot, but we're diving into The Mastery of Light by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. If it's your first time joining us, that is the book we are reading, the featured personal freedom book of the month that we are currently reading. You can catch up with the playlist that we have in our YouTube channel here, and the chapters are pretty short. It's a cute book, and so it's a book that you want to keep with you. Maybe re-listen to these audios again and again whenever you feel like you need to just be reminded. Okay. Whenever I'm trying to finish a big project, a class or presentation, or even a book like this one, at a certain point, I inevitably find myself stuck. My initial excitement has worn off. My readiness to show up and get the work done is still there, but it only gets me in front of the screen or the paper and no further. I sit looking at the words and my mind goes into a fog. I know that my thoughts are there somewhere in the midst, but I don't know how to access them. Then I hear a still, small voice inside me. Get up. I haven't gotten better about listening to this voice, even or especially when it doesn't make logical sense to me. For example, put on your shoes, it says. Go outside, it says. And so I do, even as the parasite voice inside me starts chattering away. This is useless. Where do you think you're going? Books don't write themselves while you walk around outside. That's what the voice is telling him. I laugh and say out loud, who knows? Maybe they do. I find that joking with my parasite voice can undercut its power in my head. As I breathe in the outside air, I feel my body lighten. I feel the sun creating a lovely warm tingling all over my skin. My feet fall into a rhythm and I try to clear my mind of any particular destination or plan for my walk. I'm not trying to think about where I got stuck or why. Instead, I am stalking something else, the clarity of vision I need to continue creating. Soon I begin to hum. Perhaps a song about a sunny spring day, or perhaps just a song that I love. I hum quietly at first, walking along with the rhythm of the song. I can feel my mind start to reorient to the world around me. I see details I didn't notice yesterday. I hear a bird song that hasn't been around since this time last year. I marvel that just moments ago, I sat paralyzed in a dense fog of my own making. I begin to sing. I've always loved singing. It feels precious to me and makes me feel a little vulnerable, as if I were bringing up a precious jewel from inside me and offering it to the world. Just giving it away, I keep walking. Soon, I am that crazy man you see on the street singing his heart out and striding happily in the sunlight. I don't care what anyone thinks, and I'm not worried about the project that awaits me back at my desk. I'm taking deep breaths in and out to support the song. Then it hits me. I know what I have to do. I know the next step I have to take or the next idea that has to go on the page. It's a stroke of insight that's crystal clear. I practically run back to the house to get it done, to get it down. Perhaps you have your own version of this story, a place you go or a simple action you take that parts the clouds for you and provides space for your vision to move you forward. If not, then please view this chapter as an invitation to find one, because this is the feeling you are after as you enter the plaza of air on your journey toward the mastery of life. Inspiration. Air is directly connected to the breath. Like the Nahual, air is necessary for our bodies to thrive. Thus, we can say that air is an inspiration for life. The fact the word inspire comes from a Latin term that means to breathe in or blow into. As breath fills our lungs, it inspires us. Breath is life itself. And inspiration and creativity are acts of life. The element of air also represents your spirit, the part of you that can't be measured on a scale or with a ruler. It's the part of you that is your unique manifestation of the Nawal energy. In your journey so far, you have been dealing largely with things that have caused problems in your life: domestication, trauma, the mind, clogged emotions, and how you feed your psychological fears. There is ongoing work to be done in all these areas. But in the plaza of air, you pause to renew yourself and reconnect with the Nawal energy. Pause to renew yourself and reconnect with that energy. This brings you clarity and focus, opens up your perspective as to what is possible for you, and aligns your vision and inspiration to the spirit of life itself. The plaza of air is where you hone your craft as the artist of your life, so that you can be ready when life offers you opportunities. Once your vision is cleared of the muddiness of old agreements and habitual traps, once you have mastered awareness, you are free to make decisions and follow new paths based on your true preference or on simple curiosity. This makes you ready to say yes to life in a new way. I once heard an art history teacher say that every revolution in art is a return to realism. How can this be true? Cubism, abstract art, Impressionism, none of it looks like real life. I think what she meant, however, is that each new generation of artists arrives at its own awareness of how to represent reality in ways that feel most real to them. Likewise, when we begin to create the masterpieces of our own lives, we draw on an innate desire within each of us to express ourselves in new and authentic ways. Remember, the word Toltec means artist. And the element of air is connected to clear vision and creativity. It invites you to express ourselves by trying out new creative things. Unfortunately, some of us have been domesticated into believing that we don't like certain things without ever having tried them. These things may have been forbidden or ignored in your own childhood or personal histories. These domestications may have been part of the artistic style of our parents and others who raised us. But it is important that we test these beliefs for ourselves to find out what is actually true for us. In this way, we can achieve an artistic revolution within ourselves and pioneer a whole new genre of self-expression. For instance, a friend of mine grew up in a family with no music or dancing. It was forbidden. It simply wasn't there. No one in his immediate family enjoyed these things. And as a result, he didn't feel any attraction to either music or dance or even consider the idea that he might enjoy them. until adulthood. So once he started the awareness practices covered earlier in this book, he noticed that watching other people enjoying music intrigued him. He began to question the lack of music and dance in his own life, and he decided he wanted to learn how to play the guitar. He booked himself some lessons and soon found that he enjoyed it very much. His new appreciation for music opened a whole new world for him. It brought a level of creativity, joy, and presence into his life. It connected him to his physical and emotional bodies. Do you have something in your life, like a hobby or something that you know that you can go to? His musical ear developed and he started to listen to many different kinds of music. He even started to hear the normal daily sounds around him in a new way. Your awareness feeds your creativity and provides inspiration that evolves over the course of your life. Questioning your domesticated identities, expanding and growing into new areas, becoming aware, these are key features of the personal freedom you seek as you progress toward the mastery of life. Infinite possibility. The notion of infinite possibility is another idea connected to the element of air. Think of the feeling you get when you are standing high up on a mountain peak, looking out over the landscape. You can almost see the curve of the earth itself as the wind whips past your ears in a roar. Think of how different your sensations are in this airy space from what you might feel burrowed into the earth in a warm underground nest, or what you might experience swimming in a cool, placid lake. Each of these feelings is important and valuable. The key is to know when to use the tools of each element. You can call on air to support you when you want to master the possibilities presented in your life. Recently, while hiking in the mountains near my home, I came out onto one such overlook. A deep, wide valley stretched out below me, edged by high mountains on either side. As I approached the edge of a drop off to get the best view, a hawk rose up swiftly into my vision, swept on a strong updraft. It soared high above my head within seconds. I watched it play in the wind, catching currents and gliding this way and that, or just hanging for long moments in the sky above the valley. I noticed how far it made slight adjustments to its wings and bodies in order to remain steady in the gusting wind. If it hadn't been so skillful, it surely would have been dashed against a cliff or forced to land. The hawk made it all look easy. But the truth is that mastering something, even what you might be born to do, takes time. The circumstances of life are always changing. Staying still may look simple or easy from the outside, but if you're honest with yourself, you know it takes a lot of work to be in balance and to stay where you want to be in your heart and your mind. I have a friend who took an early retirement that was offered to her because it seemed too good an opportunity to pass up. After her initial sense of freedom wore off, however, she found herself at crossroads. Old agreements about what it meant to be old or retire crept into her daily thoughts, and soon she was regretting her decision. She felt that the road of life ahead of her was short and going downhill. Then she had a burst of clarity. So many projects that she had long ignored or pushed aside. She remembered that none of us knows how long the road ahead of us will be. But she also realized that right here in the present moment, the road is the longest it will ever be. She got busy saying yes to the infinite possibilities of her life. The Plaza of Air invites you to look within and make sure you are really living the life you want to live. If not, why not? What can you do to change it? And if you truly cannot change your circumstances, how can you change your mindset about them? What other opportunities are available to you in light of these circumstances? And what is your potential? Potential is a fascinating concept and one that is not easy to understand. Perhaps you cannot and will not be or do all the things you may want to be or do in your lifetime. Thus, in a sense, you could say that your potential is limited in relation to life itself. On the other hand, you really have no idea what your potential is. In fact, I would argue that those who think they know their own or someone else's potential are probably stuck in a false belief. While you may indeed have limits, the truth is that you do not know what they are. The seeds of every possible future are all around you in the present moment. In the teachings of my family, we say that there is no outcome that can exist in the future that doesn't already exist in some potential right now. You've already learned about stalking old behaviors and transforming them. But you can also hunt out these seeds of potential, those tender shoots. You can be clear about what you are looking for, and you can have the vision to see where they exist right now, even if they feel almost invisible to you. Then you can cultivate and nurture the future you desire. Today, you are the youngest you will ever be, and you have your whole life ahead of you. How do you want to experience it? Today, you are the youngest you will ever be, and you have your whole life ahead of you. How do you want to experience it? Unconditional gratitude. The Toltec tradition teaches that every breath we take is an expression of our gratitude for life itself. We breathe in inspiration and we breathe out gratitude. Remember, even when you are not aware of your breath, it is still happening. To see infinite possibility and be inspired in the present moment, however, you will want to learn to develop gratitude for everything. In some ways, this is easy. We are often grateful for our loved ones, for the good news we receive, for our own health and safety. Most of us are readily grateful for what we have agreed is good about our lives. But in the quest for personal freedom, can you also be grateful for the job that you didn't get or the relationship that didn't last? Can you feel gratitude for wounds and losses and threats? All these experiences hold both good and bad within them. And your gratitude, like your love, can be unconditional. It's beautiful. For example, when the global COVID-19 pandemic first began in 2020, many people were faced with a huge surge in their normal fears and anxieties. Maybe these emotions were not always for themselves, but certainly for their loved ones, elderly parents, friends, colleagues. The fear that people would suffer and die was very powerful and very real. I know one woman who became obsessed with protecting her elderly parents from the virus. She wanted to control their every move, and her fear was bleeding over into their lives, making everyone miserable. But again, fear can be a great teacher. My friend complained to me that her parents were chaffing at her help and getting annoyed with her. They had snapped at her more than once on the phone. She thought it was because they were afraid. I suggested that it might be because she was afraid and that she was spreading her fear out in front of her wherever she went, like a big cloud of dust. I told her to take a moment before she got on the phone or texted her parents to call on her discipline and training. I encouraged her to literally and figuratively clear the air by taking some deep breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. I then pointed out that she could be grateful for this fear, that she could acknowledge it and explore its deepest core through gratitude. What do you think might happen? I asked. I'm afraid they will get sick, she admitted. I'm afraid that they will die without me there. I'm afraid of my kids and I will be left alone. When I asked her to trace those fears to their roots, she found that her fears were actually based in love. We don't fear people dying unless we love them deeply, unless their presence in our lives brings joy and comfort. So I encourage her to explore that love. I love my father and my mother so much, she realized, end quote. I'm grateful that both my parents have lived into my adulthood. I love that they're a huge part of my kids' lives. I prompted her to be as specific as possible about the love underneath her fear, to breathe in gratitude for all those gifts from life, that love. Doing this before each of her interactions with her parents rebalanced her, and she found her communications with them around safety during the pandemic went much better as a result. When you work with gratitude in this way, you don't eliminate fear, but you can strive to transform it by realigning it with a truer vision of the circumstances. Living a fear based life is like trying to care for a tree that is disconnected from its roots. It would, of course, fall over in the slightest wind. Now, let me repeat that. That's a great. Living a fear based life is like trying to care for a tree. So imagine trying to care for a specific tree, but that tree is disconnected from its roots, from the ground. It would, of course, fall over in the slightest wind. That's what happens when we live a fear based life. As spring approached, you would be desperate to hold it up, building all kinds of structures around it to provide support. But ultimately, these are just temporary fixes. They don't address the real problem. A tree needs to be connected to its roots. And life's roots are always love. Life's roots are always love. So, are we connected to love? If you are able to reconnect your own fears to their roots, to find their origin in love, you can transform the energy of fear and let the tree of love burst into the bloom of inspiration, new life, and creativity. Silent knowledge. Clear vision is what helps you tap into and connect with your intuition. The Toltecs call intuition silent knowledge, a type of knowing that doesn't come from the logical, rational mind. Almost everyone has a story of a time in their lives when they just knew something that didn't make any rational sense at the time, but that was later revealed to be true. While there is value in logic, the current dream of the planet holds it in such high regard that many of us have been domesticated to distrust the silent knowledge within us. The Plaza of Air is where you learn to ask yourself important questions about your relationship to this silent knowledge. How connected do you feel to your intuition? Do you receive messages from it and listen to it regularly? Or do you dismiss intuition as imagination, opting for a more logical approach? Learning to listen to and connect with the silent knowledge that is beyond your thinking mind is one of the key aspects of life mastery. It is important that you examine any domesticated ideas that you might have around this topic. If you're feeling out of touch with your intuition, I have some good news. Your connection to it naturally improves when you do the other inner work covered in this book. By recognizing and releasing unhelpful domestication and the voices of the mitote, and by freeing up any emotional blocks you have so that your emotions flow, you open yourself up to a type of knowing that has always been available, but that you may not have been able to hear. Almost any experienced Toltec warrior will tell you that tapping into silent knowledge is one of the biggest benefits of this path. Intuition is perception that is uncorrupted by the story of the parasite. It is a truth that is perceived by the Holy Spirit or the Nawal or whatever that you want to call it. I'm often asked how you know when a message is coming from your intuition and when it is coming from the fears of your little self. This can be difficult to discern at first, but I can tell you that it gets easier as you practice. Remember, it's practice that makes the master. The other good news is that by learning how to truly listen to yourself, you become better at listening in general. In this way, intuition is not only a gift to you, it is a gift to others as well. Exercise, clear vision and potential. We are the artists of our lives, and yet we often get bogged down with other things and forget to do what makes our heart sing. Or worse, if we are not skilled at cultivating our own joy, we may not even be sure what makes our hearts sing because they have been quiet for so long. The Plaza of Air invites you to change that and reconnect with clear vision and potential. For this exercise, make 2 lists in your journal. In the first, list the things that you already know that you love to do and that bring joy into your life. For instance, painting or drawing, playing a musical instrument or singing with others, hiking or camping, gardening, community, organizing or volunteering, going to concerts, reading fiction. In the second list, write down all the things you think you might like to do, but you haven't yet tried. For instance, have you always wanted to take salsa lessons? Put that down. Would you like to travel to India? Add that too. You get the idea. Now look at the first list, the things you know you love to do, and compare it to the things that you've actually done over the last month. How many things on this list have you done and how often? Sometimes we don't take the time to do the things that we love. Being more aware of how you spend your time can prompt you to make adjustments. What items on the list of things that you love to do can you schedule in the next month? Now look at the second list. What haven't you done yet that you can put on your schedule right now? Remember, you are the artist of your life. Make enjoying life the central theme of your masterpiece. I love that exercise. Exercise, strengthening your intuition. You can strengthen your intuitive skills in simple ways that will serve you well. While some of your more powerful stories regarding intuition may involve major events, the vast majority of them are probably tied to minor day-to-day occurrences. By focusing on these smaller and less dramatic moments of intuitive decision making, you can relearn how to listen to your inner silent knowing when more impactful decisions need to be made. Here's just a short list of suggestions for paying attention to the intuitive nudges you experience throughout your day. Go for a walk and see if you can focus in on your body's intuitive desire to take one route rather than another. Pay attention to what you see along this route. See if your intuition guides you to take a different route to work, school, the grocery store, etc. When it's time for a meal, take a few minutes to focus on your body. See if you can feel what your body wants in that moment rather than what your mind is saying you should eat. In the morning, choose a favorite book and open it to a random page. Read a few sentences and see if they inform any part of your day as you move through your routine. Create some intuitive art using crayons and paper. Put down lines and color as you feel guided to do so, ignoring any judgments that arise from the mind as you do so. Whenever you are faced with a relatively minor choice, for example, which shirt to wear, for instance, take a minute to see if you feel drawn to a specific item and go with that feeling. Exercise, connecting with air. Here are a couple of smaller exercises that can facilitate your connection to the clarity and vision of air. Breath work. There are a number of different methods for working with your breath. If you are already familiar with one of these, continue to practice it. If you are new to breath work, try just taking a few minutes to close your eyes and focus on your breath. Sit silently and count to 3 or 4. Inhale slowly. Hold your breath gently for 3 or 4 counts, then slowly exhale. Your breath is one of the most powerful ways that you can work to feel the presence of the Nawal in your physical body. fresh air. Stagnant air can actually affect you in a number of negative ways. You may get cranky or feel sad and not really be able to point to why. Well, let in some fresh air. Open your windows on a beautiful day and let the wind gust through your home, clearing out old energies and bringing clarity of vision. Alternatively, head for higher ground. Stand at the top of a hill after an invigorating climb. Breathing in fresh air and looking out over the landscape can give you a great sense of refreshment and perspective. And that concludes, y'all. That concludes this beautiful chapter, chapter 6 of the Plaza of Air. Amazing. Love it. Love that the exercises provided, the breath work, the stagnant air. So true. If you have a balcony, getting out, opening your windows, or even going out, especially these days during where we can work from home or we're just at home. We can, like, even Isabel and I, sometimes we're just in the house for a few days at a time. And it's like we got to go out, take a walk, or go to just go in the balcony, breathe, doing the breathing exercises, getting in that airflow. So important to remember to take those moments that really make a huge difference. And the list is amazing. Those 2 lists, we can get caught up in whatever it is. If you're working in specific work and we forget to do the things that we love to do. So creating those 2 lists of what do you know that you love to do that lights you up? And then also that list of things that you feel like you might enjoy that you haven't done yet. And then putting in, and let's put some time into, like, when can I add more of the things that I love to do within the next month? And when can I do some of the things maybe this month or right now, this week, that I haven't yet tried that I can add to the list? Love that exercise. I know we'll be doing that exercise. And yeah, I appreciate you. Congratulations on taking this moment, these moments, this time to invest into you, into your growth, into your, journey. And being on this journey together is really amazing. And I'm so glad and grateful. Being grateful, again, a reminder of gratitude, not just with the great things that our loved ones, but can we be grateful this week for things that we feel that maybe we didn't expect or didn't want? Can we find the gratitude there, the love there, and transforming our fears into that love, the root of life, which is love. All right. Hope you got some value out of this chapter. Breathing in. Let's end this read with me session with breathing in. What is it? Breathing in. What did he mention? Breathing in inspiration and exhaling gratitude. Or is it the reverse? Let's breathe in inspiration, and exhale gratitude. And we'll end this read with me session. We'll do it together in 3, 2, 1. All right. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day or evening. Love you. Appreciate you. Remember, you are perfect just as you are right now. Take care.